Welcome, sports fans, to today's roundtable, and we've got a great show lined up for you today. And today will be the last roundtable episode for this sports season. We've got our school years wrapping up this week and probably into next week, so that pretty much brings it into our roundtable season. And we'll take the summer off and come back in late August, getting ready for fall sports, for football, volleyball, softball, among the other fall sports later on in late August as the school year begins anew for 2014 and 2015. But we got one more show left for you today, and it's a good one. We've got a couple guests in. We've got Chad Allen, the Dexter Lady Bearcats basketball coach, but not only that, he is the director of the Rib City Shootout that takes place each summer here in Dexter with the various gymnasiums here in Dexter, and a big summer shootout that's put on every year by him and his supporting staff for the Rib City Shootout in Dexter each year. We're going to have him on hand to talk about that shootout going on this summer, and also some youth camps for the Southeast Missouri youth in two different locations in Farmington and Dexter. He's going to talk about that and how to get signed up for that for this summer as well. So we're going to have Chad Allen along with us momentarily. Also, we have Officials Day. It's always a tradition here on the Roundtable for the last Roundtable episode of the year to have Officials Day. We always like to bring in sports officials from Southeast Missouri to talk about their experiences in officiating, and actually kind of it's a recruiting pitch as well to get others involved in officiating, not only high school but junior high and other sports officiating here in Southeast Missouri. We're going to have Jay Pyles and Loyd Rice. Jay Pyles is a local sports official, and Loyd Rice is the Southeast Missouri basketball referee assigner. He assigns referees throughout Southeast Missouri to contests throughout the year, so he's going to be on hand to talk about how to get into officiating and how to get into it comfortably. I know officiating can be a bit intimidating at times, but he's going to talk about how to get into officiating comfortably, which his organization that he heads up actually does that. So we're going to talk about his organization and how to get into officiating for anyone that's interested out there. So got a great program lined up for you. We're going to touch on some sports that's currently happening as well, but we're glad you joined us for this final episode of our roundtable season. So let's go ahead and get into some results and the things that's going to be happening going forward. And last Saturday had a big contest in the area as Kennett defeated Crestview handily 15-5 to win the girls spring softball state championship, and that was the first spring softball state championship for Missouri, and Kennett won it soundly. They rolled through that state tournament, had no problem in the semifinals, and knocked off Crestview by 10 runs in that final over at Three Rivers College in Poplar Bluff. So, impressive season for the Kennett Lady Indians, finished 25-2, and certainly a great way to wrap up the year, especially for those seniors that'll be that graduated this week. So, congratulations to the Kennett Lady Indians softball team, winning the first ever spring softball state championship for the state of Missouri. And there's only one class in the spring, and those teams are mainly consist of Southwest and Southeast region teams in the state of Missouri. But Kennett wins that first ever spring softball state championship, and again, congratulations to the Kennett Lady Indians. And we've got some high school state baseball tournaments taking place this week as the district championships wrapped up this past week. And taking a look at Class 1 state tournament, and it's a 16-team state tournament. This is the top half of the bracket, which consists of our local teams here in the top half. And Cooter, the District 1 champion, will take on Oran in the sectionals this week. Also, Leopold will take on Bakersfield, Dadeville will take on Greenfield, and Sheldon takes on Lakeland. So, Oran, the defending Class 1 state champions, looking to make another run this year, and Cooter's always there in the mix. It seems like they're in that state tournament every year. They're in Class 1. Should be a good matchup there in that sectional round, Cooter and Oran. Now in Class 2 in the top half, Portageville will take on East Carter County. Bernie will take on Valley Catholic in St. Genevieve. Ellsbury takes on Canton. Harrisburg takes on Lynn. And we saw four of our local teams, I guess. Portageville, East Carter County, Bernie, and Valley out of St. Genevieve advance. And this Class 2, very competitive. We knew from the beginning of the year that it was going to be a very competitive districts. They're 1 through 4. And we're seeing Portageville, East Carter, and Bernie advance in those first 3 districts. And Bernie had a big win over Chaffee in that district title. It's 22-10 over Chaffee. The Bernie Mules are a really hot team right now, and Portageville as well. Portageville's had a really good run this year, and it's going to be very interesting to see who comes out to this area in Class 2 to make another run at the Final Four for the state baseball tournament. And last year, Holcomb was right there in the mix, made it out to the state Final Four in baseball last year. So it's going to be very interesting to see who advances. And Class 3 state tournament in the top half, New Madrid County Central wins their 2nd straight district championship over Malden, and they advance, and they'll take on Scott City, whom defeated Kelly in their district championship. And New Madrid County Central takes on Scott City once again this year in the sectional round. New Madrid County Central looking to get back to the state Final Four in the Class 3 state baseball tournament. St. Pius out of Festus will take on Maplewood Richmond Heights. Orchard Farm takes on Christian High School. Palmyra takes on Hallsville. They're in the top half of the Class 3 state tournament. Now in Class 4, Notre Dame out of Cape Girardeau takes on Park Hill Central. Lutheran South takes on Westminster Christian. St. Mary's takes on Clayton. St. Charles West takes on Mexico. And take a look at Class 5 in the top half. Poplar Bluff wins their district championship and advances to the state tournament. They'll take on Vianney. Marquette takes on Parkway Central. St. Louis University Prep takes on Hazelwood West. And Fort Zumwalt South takes on Francis Howell. So those are the state baseball tournaments that are set to go, or at least the top halves that we showed you for this week. There's 5 classes in Missouri State baseball, high school baseball. So we'll see how all that develops this week here throughout the area. So it's going to be very, very interesting to see how the tournaments play out this year. We had some teams advance to the state Final Four last year here in Southeast Missouri. Oran won the Class 1 state championship. Holcomb made it out to the semifinals in Class 2, and it was New Madrid County Central advancing to the semifinals and come away with 3rd place. Actually, it was a kind of a tie. They called the 3rd place game due to rain, but still yet, New Madrid County Central made it out to the semifinals last year. So might see a couple of teams make it out to the state Final Four once again this year. So we'll be looking forward to seeing how that develops over the next week. And also in other local spring sports, Noah Cronk and Ethan Flowers advanced to the state tournament in high school tennis. They've had an impressive season, so we got some Dexter Bearcats advancing as Noah Cronk and Ethan Flowers advanced to the state tournament in high school tennis. So starting to wind down the spring sports season as well as the school year for 2013 and 2014. Very exciting to wrap up this spring sports season with SEMO athletes competing at the state level. So good luck to everyone going forward. And that's pretty much all to report in our first opening segment. And we're going to take a break and be back with Chad Allen. Chad Allen's along with us to talk about the Rib City Shootout here in Dexter, and as well as youth fundamental camps that are at 2 different sites over the summer. And we'll be back with him coming up.
Welcome to NFL Total Access,
the show that takes you inside the locker room and down on the field. With inside access to all 32 teams all year long. NFL Total Access, Monday through Saturday, only on NFL Network.
NFL Network, where football season never ends.
I chose Three Rivers College. Caring staff made it easy to enroll. I'm receiving affordable, quality college classes. Day, evening, and online classes let me work college into my schedule.
With locations throughout Southeast Missouri and over 200 course offerings, including online courses, Three Rivers can help you earn a college or career technical degree.
I chose Three Rivers College. You should too.
Enroll today. Learn more at trcc.edu. Three Rivers College. Success starts here.
First Midwest Bank Gold Club offers special privileges for our friends who are age 50 or better and have combined deposits of $5,000. Members enjoy trips, cruises, seminars, and picnics along with free personalized bank services. Upcoming trips include Journey Through the Holy Land, Yellowstone in winter, Classic Ireland, and Hawaiian Paradise Cruise. Stop by any First Midwest Bank location to sign up for the Gold Club. It's absolutely free. First Midwest Bank, providing common sense financial solutions every day.
And we're back, and now we're on with Chad Allen. And Chad is the director of the Rib City Shootout that takes place here in Dexter each summer. And Chad, it's good to have you back and talking about the Rib City Shootout coming up.
Yeah, I'm really excited about this summer. We've got a lot of new teams coming, and it's just going to be a great year, a great summer for basketball.
Sure. And what year is this now with the Shootout?
This is the fifth year.
Fifth year. Mm-hmm. And I can remember 5 years ago you started to put this thing together, and each year it's gotten bigger and bigger, more teams coming each year.
Yeah, we had 65 teams our first year, and last year we had 282, and we already have 300 teams signed up for this summer. So like I said, I'm excited. We've got a lot of new teams coming. We've always had a great number from Tennessee, Arkansas, and of course Missouri. But this year we have a lot of teams coming from Illinois and Kentucky, and so just a lot of new teams, and it's just I'm just looking forward to it. And next week we get started.
Sure, and I think you started off with. Maybe four weekends, and now it seems like it goes all summer long, each weekend.
Yeah, actually, the first year we just did 2 weekends, and this summer we're doing 7 shootouts. So we've definitely extended a little bit more, but also added some fundamental camps as well.
Sure. And talking about those dates that you were mentioning, the 7 weekends that's going to be taking place, we'll take a look at those dates. And like you said, the first weekend comes up this coming week. May 30th and 31st, and what days are those on?
That's a Friday, Saturday.
Friday and Saturday. Friday and Saturday starts off with girls basketball, and followed up by June 6th and 7th as boys basketball. The 13th and 14th of June, another girls basketball weekend. The 19th and 20th, boys. The 26th and 27th with the girls. July 11th and 12th with the boys, and 18th and 19th of July with the girls. So basically alternating weeks there with the girls and boys basketball and girls volleyball thrown in there, which you actually started last year.
Yeah, we started last year, and we had I can't remember how many teams we had, but this year we've already got probably twice as many teams as we had last year. So it's grown a little bit, and it's actually starting to pull some teams from outside the area. Last year we had just mainly teams from around here, and this year we've got a lot of teams from outside the area, so it should make it a whole lot better.
Sure. And, very, very competitive volleyball is here in Southeast Missouri. We've seen teams advance and compete at the state level, and it's very competitive here in Southeast Missouri.
Yeah, and we've got a lot of those, great teams that you're talking about, coming, and pulling some out, teams outside the area will definitely help it as well.
Sure. And it seems like every year there's just more and more teams coming across the state, but not only that, like you mentioned, Arkansas, Tennessee, and now Kentucky and Illinois starting to work themselves in, and this has become the summer basketball event when it comes to high school basketball. And it's not only just for high schools, it's for even the middle school level.
Yeah, we expand from middle school with high school, but the reason why it's done so well is just because of the area. We're close to we have 5 different states right here in our area, and not only that, but also the venue. Having the Bearcat Event Center has just really attracted these teams to come to Dexter and play some summer basketball.
Sure. You talk about the Bearcat Event Center. It's been open maybe 6-7 years, something like that?
5 years, I believe.
Okay, 5 years.
Ever since we started shootouts,
okay.
Basically we started.
5 years. You got 3 quality courts right there, and they're all the same quality.
Yeah.
Even though the main floor, but the other 2 floors are just the same quality on the side. So you got 3 courts right there in the Bearcat Event Center.
Yeah, of course, we got the 3 full-size courts in the Bearcat Event Center. We use the high school, the middle school, Southwest Elementary, and we even used Dexter Park and Rex gyms in the past as well. But just depends on how many teams and how many courts we need each weekend.
Sure, and that's what makes it possible is the courts that are available here in Dexter. You talk like the Bearcat Event Center, the 3 there, and then the high school, the initial or the original high school gymnasium, the middle school gymnasium, the elementary, and the Dexter Parks and Recreation gym. So just that number of gyms makes it all possible here in one town.
Oh yeah, and it's all centrally located. A lot of shootouts are spread out. They have to drive 30, 40 minutes, and this makes it nice where you can all play in one centralized location.
Sure, and bringing people into Dexter for these weekends, that's certainly good for the community, good for the local economy, and Dexter has the motels available here to stay, so that's good for them, bringing in those people throughout the summer as well.
Yeah, usually when we have a large number of teams coming in on one weekend, and a lot of times our hotels will get booked, and so we'll have to send them to Sykes and Poplar Bluff. But yeah, you're right. It's definitely good for our local economy. They use our gas stations, they eat in our restaurants, and stay in our hotels. So it's just a good situation, for everyone.
Sure, and also we got fundamental camps you're doing. I think you started over the last few years, starting fundamental camps throughout Southeast Missouri yourself, and other area coaches putting it together for the Southeast Missouri youth out there to enhance their skills over the summer as well.
Yeah, in fact, Brad Botch talked to me about it. Him and Dusty Dinkins at South Iron, last year about putting one on, and so we tried it out, and we did it at the Farmington Civic Center last year, and had 92 campers sign up, and so it was a great success, and so we decided to try to bring one here to Dexter, and so we're taking. We're going into it, taking as many kids as we can, and hopefully the word will get out.
Sure, and we can bring that graphic up about the dates for the camp coming up. That's June 23rd through the 25th at the Farmington Civic Center up north, and here in Dexter. I assume it's at the Bearcat Event Center?
Yes, it is. It's at the Bearcat Event Center, and for more information, you can go to ribcityshootout.com. It's got all that information on there as well. It's called the Rib City All-Star Fundamental Camp. Okay, and that one's the 14th through the 16th, July 14th through the 16th here in Dexter. And what days do those fall on? It's the one in Dexter is July 14th through the 16th. And it's a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and the Farmington ones? It's a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday as well, okay. And it's on June 24th to 26th. Okay, and we got the information there. You can contact Chad about the fundamental camps at either Farmington and Dexter for this summer. You can call him there, his phone number as well as his email, ribcityshootout@gmail.com, and he can get you set up and signed up for the fundamental camps taking place this summer. And it just seems like you're just doing a little bit of everything. You started out with 2 weekends on the summer, now it's blown up to 7 weekends, and now the fundamental camps, and you're just basketball year round, aren't you? Yeah, it definitely keeps me busy in the summer, but it definitely helps our programs. It's definitely helped our girls basketball program. Getting our teams involved. In the past, we never played. We never had our middle school teams play in the summer. Actually play games and against different teams. So it's really helped our program grow, and I know it'll do the same for the boys as well. Sure. And what I think's been so great, since you started this, and your staff that helps you, is it keeps teams here locally playing, and we get to see our local talent. So Southeast Missouri fans and people that follow these schools, they can travel locally, see their team play. Not only that, see the other teams play, because there's a great following in Southeast Missouri basketball. They can just come to Dexter and go to different gyms, watch teams play, and not only that, you get a lot of good teams coming in from these neighboring states. I know Dyersburg, they bring their team down. A couple of teams out of Dyersburg, actually. Yeah, Dyer County. Dyer County, and they bring some really good teams. Jackson Southside out of Tennessee. Yeah, and there's some Memphis schools, I think, that's come before. College Prep, they're coming again this summer. Yeah. Our area has always been known for boys basketball, and it's always been real strong, and so it's brought in a lot of good teams from outside the area to come in and play, and so it's just attracted and made this shootout really good just because of all the quality teams that are coming. But on the girls' side though too as well, a lot of teams from this area never played in the summer, and so since we've started this shootout, they're actually playing, and I feel like it's just going to help all the girls' programs around this area get stronger as well.
Yeah, I mean, being able to play that many games in a short amount of time, because I know there's restrictions on how long you coaches can contact the players over the summer, and this allows them to dedicate just a handful of days and play quite a few games together.
We get, as coaches, we get 25 contact days in the summer, and with these shootouts, when you can get 6 to 8 games in 2 days, that's a lot of games just in 2 days. So it allows them to use some practice times to help prepare for the shootouts, and so yeah, it's definitely a great thing, not only for our program, but the programs around our area.
Sure, and it's fun to watch. If you haven't been, you need to come and check this out. Come to the Bearcat Event Center or the other gymnasiums that they're being held in, and check out some talent. This talent that's in this Rip City Shootout each year is quite impressive. Not only our local talent here, but as Chad said, we've got teams coming from neighboring states, very good teams, and they compete at a very high level in their states. I know Dyer County and Dyersburg, those schools compete at a high level in their states. So it's not these teams that come in just looking for somewhere to play. These are really, really good teams that compete at a high level, and you see it once they get on the floor. It's it's fun to watch. The local Charleston, Sykestons, which they come every year and they battle against these other teams from other states that have got high-profile talent as well. So it's very very exciting to watch, the high school basketball being played in the summer at this high level. And you can't really go anywhere else to find that quality of basketball in one location as here in Dexter. So it's pretty much become the summer basketball event here in southeast Missouri. And you can catch it about every weekend throughout the summer, whether it's girls or boys.
Yeah, there's almost something going on every weekend. And, like I said, I'm excited, looking forward to this summer and ready to get started.
Sure. And it gets underway next Friday and Saturday?
Yes, sir.
Okay, next Friday and Saturday. May 30th and 31st gets underway with the 5th annual Rib City Shootout here in Dexter, and we'll be looking forward to showcasing some of that as well. We'll be going out there and doing some recording, so we'll be looking forward to that as well. So, Chad, anything else you'd like to share with anybody out there, maybe about the camps over the summer? Anything else?
Well, I guess I add one more thing. This is not anything about Rib City Shootout, but we have our Lady Bearcat basketball camp next week, and we're still taking registrations. They can register Tuesday. We've got our K through 2nd grades are going from 8 to 10 starting on Tuesday. Our 3rd through 6th is going from 10:30 to 12:30, and then our 7th and 8th grade is going from 1 to 3. So we've got our LBB camp this week, and hopefully we'll have a good turnout and have a great camp.
All right, good deal. So keeping the program rolling here in Dexter. Well, Chad, we appreciate you spending some time with us, and I know you're going to be busy this summer, so it's a good thing we got you in while we can.
Thanks a lot, Tyler, for
having
me.
And Chad Allen with the Rib City Shootout here in Dexter. And we're going to take a break and bring up our sports officials. It's Officials Day for the last day of the roundtable. We're going to have some fun with these officials coming up, so don't go away.
It's the small things in life that you tend to appreciate. The quality of care at SEMO Health Network is no different. They focus on the small details with healthcare that make you feel good, so you can get back to enjoying the small things in no time. They have so many ways to take care of you with 8 locations serving rural communities in need of medical care, including dental facilities and an in-house laboratory.
You'll feel good about this. SEMO Health Network.
What is your emergency? Need assistance at County Road 61 and Highway 9. Help is on its way.
Clear! There's a better way to jumpstart your soil back to health. Apply Endzone to protect and increase nitrogen efficiency without killing bacteria. Apply Prevent to increase phosphorus availability and reduce fixation. Better yet, use them both to get more from your fertilizer investment and see higher potential yields. Ag Explorer, your prescription for healthy soil.
All right, and we're back, and we've got some SEMO sports officials along with us today, and it's always a tradition we try to have Officials Day on the last episode of our Sports Roundtable. We got Jay Pyles along with us here at the center, Loyd Rice on the outside, and guys, we don't mean to pick on you, but we just like to have some fun.
It's about time we get our fair say.
Yeah, fair say.
I had it, and we got something to say.
You get the last word.
The last word.
Been building up.
Yeah, we were going to try to get some chicken wire in here, but on the TV,
exactly.
So you don't get the stuff thrown at you. But Jay, you've been on before, and of course you've been officiating for quite some time here throughout Southeast Missouri. And I know you do the basketball. I think you do softball as well?
Yeah, I do a little bit of softball.
Do a little softball, so you probably wrapped up your year here with softball here in just the last couple weeks.
Yeah, I'm glad. And rest. Well, about 2 weeks of rest, and then start helping Chad.
Yeah, I know. He's about to get involved in that Rib City Shootout, doing about 5-6 games a day at least.
5's enough for me. Yeah.
So, just a little tune-up for you. So, Loyd Rice is the basketball official assigner. Is I guess what your title is, and he's going to talk about his organization that helps get officials into officiating here in Southeast Missouri and makes it a little more convenient, a little easier for everyone to get involved in officiating.
It does.
For everyone involved.
Yeah, when we do the assignments yearly, we have even started to pick up quite a few of our schools have us do their junior high schedules and stuff, and we've not always done that, and that allows us to get some games out for newer officials, and it's a lot better training program, you might say. A lot easier to work with those guys on the junior high level instead of just trying to, hey, good luck, call us when you got a few years experience and we'll throw you in some varsity and JV games. Our officials are also real good, Jay and Tim and Lee, and they're also getting real good about taking guys on a ride-along program. Hey, come work a JV game with our crew, and get experience that way with the two guys. And that also brings them along, gets them out in front of the coaches where it's not such a shock value to the coaches. Those are the guys that it's harder to please because they just don't, they don't trust a young guy, don't know where he's coming from. And, at the end of the day, you hope a guy can call out of bounds and walks and travels and the easy stuff. It's communicating with those coaches. It's the toughest.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a tough business to get in. It can be intimidating as well.
It is, and it takes a certain personality to be able to shrug that stuff off and, no, they're not really mad at you. They're kind of mad at the official part of it, but they'll get over it.
It's all situational. Yeah. And Jay, just tell a little bit about your background and how you got into officiating and how long you've been doing it and the whole bit. So when did you get started?
97. I've been, this might be 17th or 18th year. Buddy down Gideon, Danny Manning.
Yeah.
He kept telling me, hey, you need to, I'll be out there playing basketball, reffing the games, arguing back and forth. You need to be a referee. Finally, I did it. I've been doing it for 17 years, and I've had fun for the most part. Sometimes, it gets a little, put up with, stuff here and there, but I think it's rewarding. Been in a state tournament twice, and I see a few years ahead of me. So
yeah, so you've seen a lot of basketball.
Yeah,
Jay had a real good year this year. He won't necessarily go down that road, but he had about as good a year as anyone did from the assigner standpoint. Rewarded with the state tournament, the Class 4 and 5. They played the Class 3 with that, or
no, just 4 and 5.
It was just Class 4 and 5. So that's kind of the big weekend once you start getting into the playoff round. That's kind of what you start shooting for. Little wins along the way, Bernie tournament final here, Bloomfield Christmas tournament final, and so when you've been in as long as Jay has, you hope to kind of be in the mix for that state tournament run every 3, 4, 5 years.
You mentioned some of those tournaments. The Bloomfield Christmas tournament final. That's a big atmosphere.
Yeah, it is.
That's you can put that on par with a.
It's
state
probably maybe not as much this year, but it's probably a better atmosphere because there's a certain, a 3,000 crammed into Bloomfield gym that's just louder and funner, and we know the teams, and it's just, that was always my favorite one, even compared to a state tournament.
Yeah, the atmosphere is
everybody knows everybody.
Yeah.
It's just one big old happy family down there.
A SEMO tournament. Jay had a run in the SEMO tournament, and that one's a good one because, again, Southeast Missouri speaking, that's pretty good stuff.
Yeah.
And when those teams get together, it was Jackson and Charleston this year, or Jackson Sykeston. Don't remember how that worked out. It was Jackson, I know, because Jackson ended up.
Somebody,
yeah. Good stuff. Real good stuff.
Yeah, it sure is. And we've had some officials that's had those opportunities to officiate at the state tournament level. I know Lee Jones has probably got the bragging right still because he's the last official that got the state official of the year.
Official of the year, some nonsense.
We dog him all
We're
the
not
time.
even sure about
I've been
how
dogging
that went
him.
down.
I've been dogging him since the year since when he hasn't got it. He had a down year.
They didn't call and ask anybody's opinion locally on that.
So
we did. I think they told Jay and them up there they were real happy with the SEMO area guys that came up.
They were, sure were.
Lloyd, just give us an idea of how many sports officials are around this SEMO area, just across all sports. How would you ballpark
From
that?
our Kate Jackson group south, and we kind of encompassed some of the Bluff guys. I've got 90 on a roster.
Is that just basketball?
Just basketball. And there's some nights in January, February, we need all 90 because there'll be guys that slide on out west toward the Winonas and stuff that we lose off of our roster on a given Tuesday, Friday. We're going to pick up Farmington this year as well, so that's going to maybe pick us up about 6 guys up in that area that's going to help. But it's a struggle on Tuesday, Fridays in January, February, but we need to hold somewhere around 90 officials. And you can probably recognize 20 of them. That usually surprises people that there are 90 or 100, but there's a lot of basketball that gets played on a given
weeknight
in January,
we're seeing more
February.
Monday and Thursday night games.
Yeah.
I've noticed. Is there what's the trend behind that? Do you, at all? Is it just the schools and their
Love
scheduling?
it. I mean, we love it because it gives
Spreads
us it lets us spread that Tuesday, Friday bulk schedule out.
Is that mainly because the schools are wanting to spread out their schedule some?
I think it is, and it just helps them, maybe get off some of those really busy weeks. This past year, you could just wad up and throw out the window because once all the snow days started piling up, it just got stupid.
Yeah.
I mean,
wild.
We were getting,
just give some insight of how that was for you. All these makeups and then cancellations.
Yeah, and then it got to a point where the ADs were just simply saying we don't even know what we're going to do with this one. And we're catching and some pretty significant makeup games. It's not just a knockoff game. We'll get around to it. It was conference games. I mean, the SEMO conference, Stoddard County Conference, they were really jamming up right up. Boudreaux Conference especially, right up to the end of the year. I know Brandon and them in the Tri-County Conference, their seeds in that tournament are predicated on, playing each other. So I know it had those seeds messed up, and they were playing each other on Thursday and then might turn around and have to play in the tournament on, Saturday. And I don't even know, did they even get that tournament finished?
I think they got it in there.
Somehow on a Saturday.
It was unreal.
And a Monday afternoon.
I think it was Hayti that played. Hayti played South Pim, I think, in the district or the conference championship.
Campbell, wasn't it?
Yeah, and I think Hayti played 5 games in a row.
It was
on 5 days.
That's right.
They were making up regular season games.
Yeah, tough games
in between the tournament throughout the week.
That's right.
It was insane.
Yep. Tim and them at Malden were the host of that tournament, I guess on either the girls or boys side, and it was just such a. So anyway, your question being, I don't know how they made it through this year as ADs. I mean, it's easy. It's not easy, but it's easier on us because they're just saying, hey, here's the game, and we scramble around and push people around and adjust to try to do our best. But getting school to line up, it was just an awful.
Have you ever seen it as chaotic as this year?
No, not even close. Not even close. Even the ice storm a couple years ago, that was a 2-week window. Mm-hmm. But then once that settled down, we could spread them out and figure them out. This year was just ridiculous.
It just felt wrong because you had these conference tournaments that were.
Well, it just kept
played.
happening. Yeah. It just kept happening, and yeah.
I think that there was two different weeks. I think a storm hit, there was some ice hit But that second one that hit, it came the week that
No,
we
that was
typically
a whole
had the
week.
conference
That's bad.
tournaments.
Right.
So for
And
the
then
next,
it knocked out the whole entire week. It
Yeah.
wasn't like it took out Tuesday. It took out the whole week. So
and then you had to, and then the next week they'd be following up with
right.
regular season games, but still need to play a tournament. So
That's
they were
right.
playing tournaments over like a week and a half, 2 weeks. It was insane.
You get them late afternoon text messages from Lloyd or Randy, you're like, uh-oh. Uh-oh. I'm not going where I thought I was going.
Nope.
You just got to be ready for
You had
anything.
to be careful once you got into making up those games because
Yep.
still, the conditions weren't the best.
No,
They weren't ideal.
All in all, once it starts falling into that mindset, at least the coaches, the ADs, are a little more reasonable to, understand the situation. Because I'm telling you, some of those makeup games, and while you've got a tournament would tend to set a little precedent. You try to have the crews that everybody's agreed on and stuff. So it was good training ground for some of the Jake Youngs of the world. Some of the young guys, it's like, here you go. Here you go, big fella. You wanted some of this, so saddle up.
Yeah. Then, of course, you say, well, it's not always like this. And like, okay, I believe that going forward. So, Jay, what's the big games that you did this year that you remember from this past season that really sticks out?
I'd say every single conference game, they bring it, it seemed like everybody's pretty level. So
Yeah.
Jackson was a little bit better than the rest of the teams. I had Jackson 3 or 4 times, and man, they had a good team. That was kind of like a little junior college team they had. They had size, they had some guards, 2 or 3 guys off the bench. They got the nice gym there, the brand new gym. I had them. They played a couple teams from St. Louis. It's always nice to see some different teams.
Yeah. And they had, they made it out to the quarterfinal round in the end this year and lost to
Final round.
CBC,
Mm-hmm.
the eventual state champion. So
Yeah, had sectional games, Cape Central and Farmington.
That was a good one.
Farmington won that one. Went on state,
Yeah.
got 4th, but they played good up there. They had chances in both games to win. And,
I think that was probably our biggest area surprise was, and Farmington was good enough to win
Yeah,
it.
they
It
were
was
good.
no knock on them, but you're just used to Cape Central really played well to beat Sykeston, and I would have just never guessed that Cape Central wouldn't push through. They were really good at the end of the season.
yeah, you talk about the team. What I thought improved the most from the beginning to the end. Cape Central got off to a slow start.
slow start.
Didn't look
yeah.
good for them at all. But by the end of the season, they really put things together.
They were.
Yeah, it seems like they do that.
Yeah.
Every year.
Drew and his dad, who's his assistant, they really had him ready for Sykeston. I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
There was, they were really good. The Farmington score, I just shocked me. I thought when they called me, I thought they were lying because there's just no way.
Yeah, we did that game over there at Poplar Bluff, and Cape Central turned it on there at the end. We thought we were going to have a comeback, comeback for Cape Central, but Farmington held on and really played a methodical game.
Cape Central, kind of like Sykeston was against them, they couldn't throw a 3-pointer in the ocean. I know Sykeston had a bad shooting out that night.
Yeah.
Cape Central, the big boys couldn't score.
Yeah. So it was a good year. It was a good year.
Real good year. Jackson losing to CBC. I mean, CBC was a real deal. They got the kid going to Texas, and their guard was stinking good.
They went.
Oh my gosh, he
all,
was
so.
good.
Yeah. I think Jackson lost to him by about 12 points.
Yeah, it wasn't bad. They
Something
played
like
them
that.
twice. They played them close both times.
Yeah.
They were relating that the CBC kid, can't think of his name, but they were relating him on terms of big games in a state final to Hansborough when they beat Vashon. I mean that's the thing they kept saying was like, oh my gosh, we haven't seen anything like this. He had like 35 points and 18 rebounds or something just stupid, and that's what they kept saying, the broadcast guys. So I thought that was kind of cool throwback to the Bluff Vashon game.
Sure, that's one game a lot of people remember if they were around for it. There in 2005.
Oh man,
Easier to referee up there. I mean, easier in the sense that you don't have to worry about the drama involved in Coach Allen or Coach Hollifield or Coach Scott or somebody.
Yeah.
You can just really go out and do your thing. And
so when you talk about the state tournament, are you talking about the Final Four?
Yeah.
Making up to the Final
Yeah.
Four?
Yeah.
So, just tell us a little bit about that experience up in Mizzou Arena. They're at the Final Four of the state tournament. How is it a little easier, like Lloyd says?
Yeah, the kids. Nobody knows each other up there, so you kind of, the coaches hardly ever say anything to you. They might ask you a question here and there, but yeah, I'd treat them all the same. We got to be professional, and if you missed a call, if you kicked one, you just sit there and take it. And coach, if that's the way you seen it tonight, I guess I missed it. And I mean, you can't just say, hey, I don't make mistakes or whatever. I think they appreciate it more when you say, okay, I'll try to get the next one, But up there in the state tournament, everything's ran, it's smooth. I think they bring it to the court, take you off the court, and get the score tables, butt press roll there, just like the big college tournament, and great atmosphere. Great atmosphere. That's what you strive for. And I was lucky. This is my second time. Hopefully, we get to go back.
Sure. Dan, Lloyd, how does that work? Jay being able to officiate at that level. I know there's probably some ratings or
it's a ratings, and we nominate or whatever, suggest some guys from our local group, and they've given us quite a bit of say in making those recommendations. Because the guys we've been sending are pretty good, and we haven't had any snafus. Now, if you start sending some duds up there, it could cause you, they won't listen as much. But we've had a real good relationship, especially in the last 3 or 4 years. They've really sent who we've suggested, and the state office has made 2 trips down the last 2 Christmases and caught our Cape tournament, our Bloomfield tournament, and Poplar Bluff tournament. And that tends to be a mix of the same guys that you're going to recommend. So Tim Thompson from the state not only got to see Jay last year, but he got to see him again this year. And so, we kind of maybe had some things. Hey, Tim, Jay's not on the list this year, but, next year we're thinking this. And that's kind of, although it's a year away, when you start putting state tournament together, you've got to start that pretty much January 1 to even have time to get it laid out. So unfortunately for the officials, it doesn't get to wait until the end of the year and you just pick them. You've got to kind of have it done in December.
Yeah. And let's talk about the organization you and yourself and Randy Winston.
Randy
helps
me.
You all put together. It's SEBO.
SEBO officials. It's Southeast Basketball Officials, and just because I couldn't think of anything smarter to call it. It's just it's an assigning it's not even association. It's an assigning process. The schools pay me to assign their basketball contest. They send us their schedules this time of year. Randy and I get them loaded into the system, and it's all ran on the Arbiter. It's a website for officials assigning. And really, Tyler, we were kind of behind the times in doing that down here. Springfield area, who used to have the best officials in the state, has assigned for years. They've assigned in St. Louis for years, Kansas City. So we were a little maybe behind in catching up to that. But the biggest and most positive change is it kind of takes it out of the home school's hand. They don't have to jockey around and place things. And so if you're a road team in the SEMO conference, you know who your officials are, for your Cape game or your Dexter game or your Bernie game. And that's somewhat important, in paranoid coach's world. Brad Botch knows who he's got at Advance and Bloomfield and at his own games. So we assign those, and the ADs go in and sign off on them in September and say, yeah, it looks good to me, And then as the year progresses, if there's any major run-ins or hiccups, we may bounce some people around just to accommodate and keep everybody happy. But for the most part, once it's assigned and kind of running and accepted, that's kind of how we roll the year. Jay should know in October roughly what his schedule looks like. And then, other than tournaments and seedings and things changing, it just, where you're going.
Yeah. So it makes it much easier from a logistics standpoint with the ADs
no question,
the ADs and the referees.
Plus, it's a more positive situation because it's not an AD having to go get, Jay for 4 games. And it's not that they're cheating, but, every time Bernie rolls into Bloomfield, if you've got Lloyd and Jay and Bobby refereeing, well, you get tired of that after about the third year in a row of seeing it. So, and it also allows us to keep, to keep the guys spread around better. It helps their schedule. Get Jay out of the boot heel for once and go to Jackson and go to Cape. And, before and ADs change, you just don't have as much opportunity to do that. So it's balanced it, and it's also let us really bring along others.
Yeah, that's what I was going to get to, that it's actually a good way for newcomers to come in and get acclimated and get comfortable with it a lot easier.
To me, it's the only good way, and you can say yes or no.
Yeah,
I mean, when
think
Jay
so, too.
started, he was like, okay, here I am.
Yeah.
Anybody need a referee?
Clarkton, Gideon, Campbell, here it comes. Every night.
Every night. And of course, you want the games, the competitor in you wants to go referee. So I was just like Jay, you end up going to the same 4 schools. Well, then, Jim Bidewell likes you, and he may start grabbing you for 2 or 3. And it just takes a while to build it. So, and it also, it hopefully balances. We can all kind of work on the same platform, the same mindset. Hey, guys, new rules coming this coming year are really going to affect the game in Southeast Missouri. And it's going to be a long November. And we're going to have to be on the same page about that. If we're all just running around doing our own thing, you never quite get acclimated to what Jay and them are doing. You just don't.
Well, it kind of seems like, with the assigning method now, it kind of gets it closer to football, because, the football officials have their own crew. They're not with different people every day. And they get, once they come in, they get with a crew, and they get to, take on, some of the simpler referee duties first, and then work their way up.
Absolutely.
And, it seems like it kind of mimics that.
It does, and that's a positive, because it gives a young guy with skill set, a Ryan Miller. Well, if he's first-year officials, there aren't a lot of schools going to hire him unless they're just desperate. So it's bad for Ryan. He's just getting dumped into games that you really don't have any business, no matter how good you are as a first, second-year official. You need to be with Jay and Lee, or Lloyd and Bobby, or whoever, and they can kind of buffer some of that, tell you at halftime why we don't do that, and you go back out and you're able to you're able to get better across the course of 2 or 3 years, instead of just wandering around thinking you're doing great and you're really not any good at all.
So it could make it a lot easier on someone that wants to get in, because it can, not only it's intimidating on the court, being out there for the first couple times, and having to deal with not only fans but coaches. It can be intimidating, but not only that, what you all talked about is scheduling your own games, trying to create a relationship with coaches. That's another intimidating part too.
It is, and even the simple, goofy part about where do you park? Do I change in the? Where do you change? Where do you get there? And when you're real jacked up and anal like me about details, do I go find the AD? Do you not? That's stuff that when you go with an experienced guy or two, it just takes all of that away. You roll into the locker room, it's all good. Introductions made. Plus, you get down and you have a good pregame, and it's just the only way for a new, young, good official to come up.
Sure. And Jay, we talked about you doing some softball. So, how do you enjoy the softball? I know it's a little slower pace than running up and down the basketball court, but how does softball work out for you?
No, I do very many a year. I got a little tournament up in Jackson, I do, and a couple games, 2 or 3 games here and there. I probably do 9 or 10 a year. I don't do enough to have any big games or nothing like that.
No.
I kind of got talked into it, and I like softball, so as long as we're throwing strikes, I enjoy it. But if we're not throwing strikes, it's not too fun. You got to have a big strike zone out there.
Yeah. Game can kind of drag out.
Talk about your all-time kooky refereeing schedule. I mean, I don't see all those spring sport guys do it.
Yeah, you got what, 4 o'clock start or something like that?
4 and 4:30 starts.
Yeah,
and
that's one reason. You
rain outs and
working. You just can't get there early enough.
Yeah.
Having lights, it'd probably be worse on me, because I'll be doing something all the time. Then I enjoy the break.
Now, that's a good dual officiating that a lot of our baseball people tend to make good basketball officials. Darren Shipman's a good it's just a mentality, where I think it is.
Yeah.
I think assistant coaches make good officials. When you get tired of assistant coaching and taking that abuse, I mean, go around plucking all the assistants, and they really should try it, Tyler. It's I mean, you make some spending money. You don't do it for the money. Definitely wouldn't do it without the money. But we're gonna have a nice fee schedule structured next year. And on the boys' side, we always send out a 3-man crew, and I try to make sure they're riding together or can meet if it's any distance at all. We try to make sure they're riding with a crew, and I think our camaraderie's built up tenfold in the last couple of years because of that.
That's important for keeping the officials'
absolutely
attention.
And keeps them tricked into doing it. They think they like each other. So and new rules coming. Tyler, jump off on a tangent here, but the collegiate level rule of hand checking on the perimeter was pushed to that level this year. It was all the hubbub. It's coming to high school next year. It's going to be hands off on the perimeter. And that's going to be a load for your for your SEMO conference. And
I can see Brad Bosch out there say, "Are you kidding me?"
Yeah. Oh, it's coming. So
get a new whistle.
Yeah. And it is. It's going to be a tough adjustment for those defensive-minded coaches because you can still play defense. It's just you can't grab them or hold them or touch them on the way by. Scoring averages should go up. So it's what Lakers style Showtime.
Yeah.
Showtime is here, but anything on the perimeter is hands off, and the little hand checking and measuring it's gone. So
like that, a lot of that's in the post play where you.
Well, it is, but I mean, just to be honest, Tyler, post play is post play.
Yeah.
When you're cramming 4 bodies into a 8 square foot area, I mean, it is what it is. You're just going to have contact. Now, the illegal post play should have a real strong emphasis on it when they're just setting up in there and putting a knee in their rear end and stuff. Those will get easier for us to call because it will be specifically defined. But you watch the perimeter play early next year, and it's going to be an adjustment period.
And Jay, maybe talk about that, Jay. The adjustments each year. They got points of emphasis each year to try to enforce. How does that go in each year? Do you concentrate on those things in each game for those emphasis?
Yeah, especially at the beginning of the year. Everybody's trying to be consistent. And you have your little pregame talks, and of course we'll have a meeting before the season starts and go over everything. And hopefully everybody gets on the same page because, if we're allowing them to manhandle them down here at Barney one night, and then they go down to Advance and on everything, and it's not good. So.
Yeah. And are those tough years when you've got things
Absolutely.
that
it'll be awful.
Yeah.
You already see it, huh?
Yeah. Coaches,
it's in our area. It'll be tough because our guys play great defense and they get after each other, and I love it. But they're going to have to adjust.
And you always hear about it. Coaches talk about playing the state tournament. You get in different areas of the state, and it's called differently. And this might even exacerbate that even more. How they could call it in different parts of the state.
Even having said that, CBC, you could have dumped them into Southeast Missouri and they'd look like one of ours. So I've always thought the better basketball, the better brand played is ours, and that our quickness and athletic ability and the way it's coached. It's just a better brand of basketball, and it resonates even in the other pockets of the state that play like that. But it'll be interesting to see how the coaches adapt to it because they will have to adapt. If we call the fouls, you will have to adapt, or your team's going to be on the bench. So we'll have a lot of free throws shot early, and hopefully they'll catch on and play defense with your feet and. We'll see where it goes.
It'll be interesting to see. We'll
stay after practice or shoot free throws.
We'll be ready for the broadcast next year. It's like, Jay said he was going to be all over that.
Let it be, known.
It's like, we put in call into Lloyd if that's supposed to be called that way. Yeah. So it'll be fun to see.
Our job is going to be consistent with it from, Jackson to Cooter and, all the way over to Bluff and Donovan. That's our task is to be very as consistent with it as a guy can be from man to man. And then the reason it's a little bit easier on official because it's not a gray area, it's not an opinion, it's black and white. You know, if the hand goes up and on them, and if it don't immediately come off, it's a foul. Even as light as it may be, it's a foul.
Yeah. And I know you have some communication, and all these coaches know these.
That's right.
These points of emphasis, and I know.
Yeah, they will. I mean, it'll be fair.
Yeah. So you explain to them that they know what the new points.
The opposing coach will be sure to remind you if we forget early. I don't blame them. I would too. I mean,
yeah. So Lloyd, talk about kind of the landscape of the new officials coming along. Are you seeing more officials starting to get into?
Yeah, I think so. We tend to pick up about 6 new guys a year. And Chad and I were just talking about a couple guys locally that are kind of in their upper years of college and are going to get out or just got out, and we're going to have several. I mean, a deal like the Rib City is a perfect training ground for a guy, even though you're not doing mechanics and things right like that. And we take some guys to a camp up in St. Louis that I'm involved in every year, and that's a really good training ground if you kind of ever want to move it past that, that level of just what you find out locally. And other than that, it's kind of get on the Misha website, take your test, and give me a call or an email. I think you're going to
we got the email and contact for Lloyd L. Rice at bsnsports.com. You can contact Lloyd with any information or any.
I mean, we want new officials, and the good older guys want new officials coming. I mean, they love taking Jake Young and Ryan Miller and our Corey Grosjean. That's good for the system.
Yeah.
It's not a you're taking my games mentality. That might have been a thing at one point, but we've kind of done away with that because there's plenty of basketball for everybody. I mean, it was, again, at the end of this year, these guys I know they were declining the calls on purpose because a night off ain't the worst thing in the world.
Yeah, and as you say, you can contact Lloyd if you have any inquiries about getting into officiating or just want to know more information. You can reach him at that email, and also if you go online to the Misha website, that's mshsaa.org, and they've got a couple tabs across the top of the website there, officials. Just click on the officials, and you can get more information there as well. And it's not an entirely difficult process to get into officiating. It's just
it's actually surprisingly easy, isn't it? It's just not very cumbersome at all. And on the baseball, softball side too, I'm telling you what. I know Coach Dowdy out here does. He's had a heck of a. He's been a licensed baseball official for 2 years, and he was in the district final at Bernie this year. And obviously they were real desperate for a baseball guy. But seriously, I mean, if you have any skill set at all in the sport, you can kind of on a spring sports schedule, you can get on your way pretty fast. Especially if you like being outdoors and your job lines up with it. They're double headers and JV games, and it's I encourage you to look into both of them.
Yeah, and I can remember a handful of years or so. It's probably been closer to 10 years now. I remember, I think the Standard Democrat did a story with I think Joe Bill Davis.
Yeah.
And talked about the newcomers coming into the fold, and said kind of had a shortage at that time.
There was
the guys. Are we seeing better numbers? And
I don't know on the spring sports as much because it's just such a tough. Most schools, I think, have went with a 4:30 start.
Yeah, 4:30.
4:30. I mean, that's just tough for a lot of guys work-wise. It ends up being a lot of school people for spring sports. But we're actually in pretty decent shape on basketball. Again, we want some guys coming because the talent pool, the more we've got to choose from, makes everybody better. And again, push some of these older guys. Challenge them. We get them to retire sooner. It's all positive. But I like guys that call 2 or 3 different sports. I mean, some of our football crew guys that come over into basketball, it's an easy transition. I don't know a lot about the football crews because they are on crews. But I know those guys that do a lot of football tend to be really good basketball officials. I mean, Sarda and Russian. I hate to say he's a good official, but it's you're dealing with school people, and so it tends to kind of translate.
Yeah. So and now's probably the best time it's ever been because you talked about the Rib City Shootout. It's right here. You got so many games that you can officiate, girls and boys, different ages, younger,
and he's paying
older.
you.
Yeah, and you get some money too.
It's vacation money. I go do some. I mean, Jay does. It's not. There's no ego involved. It's a positive.
Yeah. So I mean, that's an easy way to just get acclimated and familiar with all the games because you can just walk in and do a handful of games over the weekend.
Oh, absolutely.
And get quite a bit of experience in doing that. So it lines up pretty good with it being here in Dexter with that many games over the summer. I have several new guys that maybe didn't have an opportunity to work for us just because they are new, and it's limited for new people. Let's admit it. You can do some parochial league stuff maybe and some some junior high level stuff. But have you had anyone any madder at you than at a junior high game? I mean, it's Go call Bernie and Dexter Junior High and get you some of that. It's not it's not for the faint of heart. It's tough, and you got to get them mamas acclimated to officiating at that level. So it's tough. There's some mean junior high gyms around here.
Sure.
You got
after 17 years.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah. Gosh, Coach,
they already know me
favor
now.
Showing up, but got some uncle here on the second row that's Pat Riley, so he's going to have to hush up or go. But this, to answer your question, now this is, and I've suggested several, tell me when you're going to be over at the Rib City games, and I'll come watch you or join in and work with you, and that's a great tool.
Yeah, well, it seems like it's about as good a time as any to get in as a
no
newcomer
question.
because you got the assigning on the games part, and not only that, the experience you can get with that Rib City Shootout.
Sure.
So,
and the money's decent. I mean, the schools have had to keep up with the rest of the state in that regard, and they have. They've been good to us, and it's again spending money, especially for a young married or a college kid. I mean, how great is that? You can go make $100 refereeing, or I can work at Applebee's for that same 6 hours and make whatever, $24. So I encourage any of the college folks especially to throw their hat in there.
I guess when I got into officiating, I was in college, and I can tell you if you start out and do intramurals in college, it's a breeze from there on.
Yeah, exactly.
If you can ref intramurals, you can ref anything.
Intramurals and men's league, if you can survive, it's no question.
Yeah, I've definitely turned some men's league games down.
Yeah,
I definitely have.
So you get that call, I'll let that one go.
Yeah, that's one not so much interested in.
Yeah, those are easy ones to get into if you're in college.
It is, and SEMO actually has a good program because our guy Mike Buck and Jason Lipe are both up there.
Jason Lipe up there.
And they want it done right, and so they try to do it accordingly.
That's probably get a little good recruit
tool
there.
There's no question. Yeah. Matt Boyles, he's Kuhlen or Fisk kid, has been up there, and him and Jake Young kind of hooked up on the ag department, and next thing you know, we were doing these intramurals for nothing. Well, why don't we, or for little pay, why don't we, go work some for Lloyd? Next thing you know, 2 years later, they're good young officials too.
Yeah. So there you go. People are probably just climbing over themselves, the emails.
Oh,
how
absolutely.
do I get signed up? So easy. Yeah, get signed up.
Laptop's on fire right now.
Yeah, but and if you like watching basketball or softball, baseball, there's no better way to do it than get involved with this because you get to see multiple teams, you get to see all these athletes, and you'll see a whole lot of games and get to see a lot of sports that you enjoy.
It. I mean, I would never can't imagine not having been involved in it all these years.
Yeah, so it's fun. Certainly, if you're really into the high school athletics, for sure, it's a good way to get involved, and it's good exercise too. We all don't exercise enough, so that's a way to kind of
most of the
corner
guys
that.
end up. You really do. You kind of fall in love with it
Yeah.
and the camaraderie, and then again, you're generally dealing with student athletes, and it's a positive experience. And I think we do a pretty good job. I mean, I really do. At the end of the day, you can drop yourself into just about any gym, and you get you a pretty good job done in Southeast Missouri.
Yeah.
And it's not always that way. I mean, we've all had the experiences or seen them or heard the stories, but for the most part, you're going to get a pretty good run of officials from us down here working out of this area.
Yeah.
And I'll hold up for them, and then we'll talk on the side if they did kick something. But I like our coaches for the most part, and I like our administrators, and our schools have been real good to us. All in all, it's just been really good. I think we're really handling the basketball side of things really good in Southeast Missouri.
Good deal.
Yeah.
Well, if anyone out there wanting to get more information from Lloyd, we can throw that graphic up there again, and you can email him as lrice@bsnsports.com. You want to email Lloyd directly and get more information. Also, you can go onto that website, MSHSAA.org, MSHSAA.org, and click on that officials tab along the top there. Get more information on how to take the test, the process of getting certified. And it's, like you said,
It's open book.
Not all that difficult.
Open book.
Yeah,
Jay
open
passed
book.
it. I
Hey,
mean,
open
what can you say?
Open book, made 70 on it.
Come on.
And like you said, it's pretty easy to get involved, and you go to that website and check it out as well. So, anything else you guys like to share about anything at all?
No, I guess. I appreciate you guys covering some of our local games.
Oh yeah.
Especially some ones I do. I get to go home and see what I look
Yeah.
like, see what I missed. And I watch a lot of that, so make sure you don't say anything bad about the referees on there.
We do. We've got a good product down here, and it when you broadcast it, even in the places not in the Dexter area, but it's a good product from our Cape Jackson northern boundary to all the way through the Boot Hill and over to Doniphan. It's good basketball.
Yeah. Sure is.
If you ever end up at the what's the tournament up around the Park Central,
Park Hill Central.
Yeah, Park Hill Central. Go watch that and compare and contrast, and you'll be dashing back home. I know Jay worked one of his district tournaments. Sites was up there that he got picked for, and it's just like,
I'm up for Fredericktown and Potosi, and I'm like,
wow.
Are you kidding me? This is easy here. I mean, it was easy compared to this down here.
Yeah. It's so competitive down here. It's cutthroat. Well, these schools to get after now.
It's a different animal. It sure is. I promise you.
It sure is, and we enjoy it all
Absolutely.
all the same. So, well, guys, we appreciate y'all stopping in today and letting our viewers know about how the officiating industry works and how they can get involved, and just getting to share how it all happens out there. So we appreciate y'all stopping by today. And we'll be ready. Lloyd will be ready back next year. We'll have another
Absolutely.
We can get in here. And,
call about the second week of December. We'll have been through the 3 preseason tournaments and a couple of shootouts. So we'll have a good feel for how things are going.
All right. So we'll see about that. We always try to have an officials day here on our last roundtable episode, and that's going to do it for this season of the roundtable. We appreciate you for tuning in for the 9 months that we've been going here since early fall, and we'll look forward to having you back with us late August for fall sports. And we're going to get kicked off with another sports season in late August, getting underway with football, softball, volleyball, and all the works there with the fall sports. And we will be covering some Rib City Shootout games here on YHC TV and SemoSportsZone.com. You can watch some games on there that we'll be doing each week from the Rib City Shootout. So that's what we'll be providing from a sports standpoint over the summer. The Rib City Shootout, we'll have 3 or 4 games each weekend that we're going to record, and we'll air here on YHC and have available on YHCTV.com and SemoSportsZone.com as well. So that'll do it for the roundtable season, and we'll look forward to having you back for another season in late August. Until then, have a great summer, everyone.